Hi there, so the last of the nights, we have got the Knight of Discs. The Knight of Discs is composed of the sub-elements of fire and earth. So fire and earth are complementary, they get on, but they're neutral. They don't have the activity of the Knight of Wands, for instance, but they don't have the conflict of the Knight of Cups. So this card, as you can see, the Knight and Horse are very different to the other three Knights. This horse is clearly not in a rush to get anywhere. He's part of the land. His helmet's up. He's clearly not there to do battle or to move quickly. So very different sort of feel to this card than the other three Knights. So the three cards that he rules are the Seven of Wands, which is Valor. He rules the Eight of Discs, which is Prudence, and the Nine of Discs. So these are a lot more happier cards than the previous Knight, the Knight of Swords. So what we'll do, we'll go on to the next section and break the symbology and meanings down in detail, and then we'll finish off with the Celtic Cross application. Okay, we'll start with the deckhand wheel here and rulership, and we've got the King of Pentacles. So the equivalent card would be the Knight of Discs, and that rules the Seven of Wands, Valor, Eight of Discs, Prudence, Nine of Discs, which is Gain. So the astrological signs are it's the last decan of Leo, the mutable section decan there, and we've got the first two decans of Virgo. Virgo being associated with wheat, the land, that sort of thing, so fits well with the meaning of the card. Just going on to the cards themselves, well, this I didn't show you in the beginning, was the Rider-Waite version of the Knight of Pentacles. Personally, I don't like the court cards of the Rider-Waite deck. I think they're probably the weakest cards in that deck, but you know, each to their own tastes. So what we'll do is have a look at the sub-elements. So Knights here, we've got the fire aspect of the suit, and we're down here fire of earth. So fire part of earth, Crowley states, it refers to the phenomena of mountains, earthquakes and gravitation, but also represents the activity of earth as a giver of life. This is why Crowley really talks about earth as being not just a passive thing, but an active thing, and that's why he gives this particular suit the title Discs rather than Pentacles, because it's far more in depth than just the Rider-Waite version, which is all about money. This is Crowley looks at it in a much deeper way. I think I mentioned that when I did the minor arcana. So elemental dignity rules, basically we have the elements of fire and earth, which strengthen each other, but they're neutral. In accordance with the tetragrammaton here, again we've got the Knight representing Yod. Yod of the final hay, so that represents the seed acting as like a procreative power on earth. So the Knight of Discs is at one with the earth and concerned with agriculture, so it's applying that will practically to the planet. Four worlds here, we're down in the fourth world here, So even though it's far from the first world, these two do get along well, and it's the final expression of that will going practically to things that we can see. It's all about tangible results, this particular card. Going back to the astrology of the card, we've got Leo here and Virgo. So the Knight of Discs rules 21 degrees Leo to 20 degrees Virgo. One thing to note is the first two decads of Virgo are ruled by the Sun and Venus. So the Eight of Discs is ruled by the Sun, Nine of Discs by Venus, and these go very well with the energy of the card because we've got the sunlight in terms of that scene of agriculture in the Knight of Discs, and we've also got the sort of nurturing effect that happens with Venus in the Nine of Discs. Okay, we'll have a look at the I'm sorry I'm flicking through these cards rather randomly, or these photographs. Knight of Discs, we've got a Shire horse here, so it's not used for battle but for practical purposes, and its stature reflects this. Crowley says it is solidly planted on all 4 feet, as was not the case with the other knights. That's page 164 of the Book of Thoth. His helmet is raised, he's not in battle. You've got the helmet crest, which is a stag's head, which is associated apparently with prudence in the Renaissance times. And prudence is also associated with the hermit, who is ruled by Virgo. There's a picture of the hermit in my notes. The flail here that he uses is used to thresh the wheat, so it's a harvest, again associated with Virgo and fertility and Osiris. So it's again all about producing things practically and having tangible results for your efforts. You've got the front of the shield and a hidden side of the shield as well, which we can't see. It is said that the hidden side of the shield contains the face, contains the pentacle of the Zelator Adeptus Minor, which is this, with all sorts of writing on the outside. And there's more about this in my notes, but essentially it's a container, or it contains like magic, and it's all about this ritual that the Zelator Adeptus Minor does. It's all about using magic to produce things, to produce tangible results, that sort of thing. So it's magical workings pertaining to the nature of Earth. It's sort of invoking the spirits of Earth for like a plentiful harvest. So there's lots of symbology here that see, we've got the hexagram associated with this card is the number 62 hexagram. I did have a picture of that's composed of 2 trigrams, which is thunder over mountain. So thunder is the fire aspect and mountain is the earth. So we've got fire over earth, which is the same elements as the Knight of Discs. That's why Crowley applies this particular hexagram. The qualities associated with this hexagram are It's all about self-control and attention to detail. It's about keeping a close eye over our financial transactions, being prudent in our outgoings. So probably not the most emotionally fulfilling time, but it's a time to be very productive if we take this advice. So it's all about making sure that things are running smoothly in our life rather than going off on emotional journeys. Again, that's very much in tune with the message of the Knight of Discs. So the three cards that make him up, I'll go briefly into these, are Valor. Valor, the Seven of Wands, this is where he gets his work ethic from. He keeps going and going, even though his journey is very long. You can see he's been on a journey, he's finally come to rest. That's taken a lot of energy up. Quite like the lifestyle of a farmer. There's many hours that the farmer actually has to work, and the card of Valor sometimes denotes a situation where we're fighting a losing battle. So I know that the suicide rate amongst farmers is quite high, so it shows you just what a task he's what journey he's had. The other card is the Eight of Discs, which is Prudence. Again, a positive card, implying a work commitment over a longer period of time before we get visible results. Nine of Discs, it's all about success coming his way. So he's been on this journey, he's applied himself, and now he's reaping the rewards with the Nine of Discs. Finally, we will go on to the excuse me on this, the Celtic Cross. So one aspect of this card is it can denote a life which is quite boring, predictable. He just plods along. He doesn't have the energy of the other three. So if the Knight of Discs appears in the heart of the matter, could be denoting that my life is boring and predictable. Number two, if the Knight of Discs turns up there, it's a need to become more grounded in our everyday life. Have we been listening to our heart too much and ignored the practicalities of life? Subconscious desires, number three. Would we like to be more disciplined and organised, more in touch with nature? Number four, recent past. Things have been quite tedious and uneventful. Getting things done, but no fun. Our short-term future. Need to keep a close eye on finances and practical matters. Number seven, our self-image. We're steady, reliable, but not really emotionally turned on about anything, so we tend to play it safe. Number nine, if the Knight of Discs turns up in guidance and warning, it could be a warning that if we don't become more grounded and less ruled by our emotions, then we could be in financial trouble. And final outcome here, we really need a period of stability and devotion to our work to keep us going in the long run. We may not be emotionally fulfilled at this moment in time, but we just got to manage our practical affairs, and other things will follow from that, but we need to get a basis and a grounding in our everyday life, even though that might create a little bit of boredom for a short term. It's something that's come up that's necessary. So I think that pretty much finishes the Knight of Discs, and we'll move on to the Queens next.